Hey guys, here's Choompeek, and today one of the people who commented on one of my videos asked me to make a Piglin theory a couple months ago. And I've been thinking about it, and I finally created the theory. Here it is. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I think it's a pretty interesting theory. And yeah, here it is. If you play Minecraft, you know who the Piglins are. And today I'm going to present to you the lore behind this mob. We know that the Piglins live in the Nether and are sort of related to the pigs of the overworld. This leads me to believe that the Piglins of the Nether used to be pigs, but what exactly changed the pig to somehow become the Piglin? Well, there's a different theory out there about these ancient race of builders that lived long before the player, and their remains still exist in the overworld, Nether, and End, in the form of generated structures. During this period, these ancient builders accidentally found out how to make a Nether portal. They didn't decide to live there until later, as the Nether is very dangerous. Later on, when these ancient builders decided to go in the Nether, they brought in animals like pigs for food. And as these pigs were bred, each generation of pigs looked slightly different than the last. Mutations in the DNA of these pigs were forming, and created horrific new pig-looking monsters that eventually started to escape their pig pens. This eventually created the Piglin and Hoglin. But what exactly caused this to happen? What caused the pigs to mutate? Well, I think the answer is radiation. The Nether is filled with radiation strong enough to alter the genes of future generations. And after generations, the Piglins and the Hoglins started to build immunity to the radiation and no longer continued to mutate. So this is kind of the idea of what Piglins used to be and how did they come to be. But we need history to really back all of this up and to prove that all of this happened. And as the ancient builders explored the Nether, they decided to build tall Nether fortresses to live in and store items. There was loot in these Nether fortresses, and the loot includes gold ingots, tools and armor, diamonds, iron ingots, flint and steels, obsidian, saddles and horse armors, and strangely enough, netherwort, which I'll save for maybe another theory. Later in the future, as more people started to come in the Nether, they had to start building bigger structures. These structures were the bastions. Well, now just remnants of what they used to be. The proof that bastions were built after the Nether fortresses is the loot. The loot in bastions is still overworld loot, but a lot of it is still also Nether loot, proving that as the builders advanced more in the Nether, they stored their loot in the newer structures that were better than the Nether fortresses. There's also proof of more people living in bastions than fortresses, as there is loot that seems to be more like personal belongings like diamond tools and armor, sometimes even damaged or enchanted. 3 of the 4 bastions that are found have very interesting names. These are the housing units, treasure room, and Hoglin stables. I believe that the housing unit bastions were used to store people, the treasure rooms to store loot, and the Hoglin stables for food. But what exactly happened to the bastions? What exactly ruined them? The answer to this question are the Piglins. The Piglins were the ones who ruined the bastions, but how? Well, by war. The Piglins were envious of the builders' loot and power, and wanted that for themselves. The Piglins started to steal ideas of how to make weapons and armor from the builders, specifically swords, axes, and crossbows. And they used gold as it was a very common metal in the Nether. Eventually the day came when very large armies of Piglins that outnumbered the builders got ready for war, and all the Piglins killed the builders in the bastions and took the bastions over. In the end, the builders were defeated and the Piglins took over the bastions. the nether fortresses were too tall for the piglins to reach and had wither skeletons guarding them. Piglins and wither skeletons don't go together very well. Maybe I'll save the wither skeletons for a future theory, who knows. One proof of the big war is an achievement called War Pigs, when opening a bastion chest. Another achievement is Those Were the Days, when entering a bastion, proving that something happened long ago to the bastions. You might know that the piglins are known for bartering, and when bartered with can actually give some decent loot. But some of the loot is overworld loot, or loot that was stolen. One of these items are enchanted iron boots and iron nuggets. It's quite obvious there's no iron in the nether. Neither is there crying or normal obsidian, meaning that the piglins took leftover obsidian from the bastions or the ruined portals that were left behind by the ancient builders long ago. Fire resistance potions and netherite hose are also part of the bartering loot, and in my opinion seem to be a little too complicated for a piglin's brain to create. Last of all are water bottles. Yes, water bottles. What exactly are water bottles doing in the nether? They were clearly stolen from the builders and were most likely going to be used for brewing. Maybe fire resistance potions. Let's just conclude everything so you can easily understand what happened. Because I just, gave you guys a bunch of facts of what I think are the piglins. But let's just conclude everything together. What exactly are the piglins? The piglins and hoglins are both mutated nether pigs due to the nether strong radiation. What was the history that I explained? What was it about exactly? Well, fortresses were built by the ancient builders before the bastions. Later, the bastions were destroyed by large armies of piglins that were pretty envious and greedy of the power and loot that the ancient builders have stored up for themselves from exploring the nether. The loot in bastions, fortresses, and piglin bartering point to the existence of the ancient builders being in the nether, because some of the loot is kind of suspicious. And that pretty much concludes the entire theory. I hope you guys enjoyed and hope you guys understood what the theory was about and what I think about the piglins and what they possibly are. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and this is the end of the video. Bye bye.